This is Emma's story, a story of secrets, betrayal, and the night she vanished without a trace after serving one man. A man so powerful, people wonder if he made her disappear forever. I'd been working at Rick's Diner since I was 17. Most people thought it was just another dead-end job for a girl with no future. But for me, it was freedom, a chance to save enough to find the man who'd left my mother all those years ago. Every night after my shift, I'd count my tips in the tiny break room, scribbling numbers into my worn notebook. $13.25 from table 5. $7 from table 2. Slow days crushed me. Busy days felt like hope. Then, one rainy Tuesday, everything changed. The bell above the diner door jingled, and the room seemed to hush itself. That's when I saw him. Samuel Aldrich. He didn't belong in Rick's. He belonged on the covers of Forbes, the top floor of glass towers I could only dream about. But there he was, alone, soaked from the storm, his dark suit still crisp, his shoes leaving perfect wet prints on the black and white tiles. I swear when his eyes flicked up, my heart stopped. For a second, I saw my mother's eyes in his. Or maybe I wanted to. He didn't even order for himself. Just raised 2 fingers, black coffee, no sugar. I nodded like I did with every customer, but my hands shook when I poured his cup. When I placed it in front of him, I caught a glimpse of his watch, gold, heavy, probably worth more than everything I owned. He didn't say thank you. He didn't look at me again. He just sipped, scrolled on his phone, then signed the check with a silver pen. S. Aldrich. I still don't know why I followed him. Maybe I wanted to prove my mother hadn't lied on her deathbed when she whispered, "Find him, Emma. Find Samuel." Or maybe I needed to see for myself. Did my father really abandon me? Or was there more to the story? His car was easy to spot. A black Mercedes, polished like a mirror, the license plate nothing but a single letter. A. I watched from behind my rusted Honda, rain dripping from my bangs into my eyes. I knew it was stupid. I'd watched enough true crime to know how this ends. But curiosity is louder than fear sometimes. He drove off, and I followed, headlights off. My wipers squeaked across the windshield as I tailed him through the sleeping streets of our little town. When he pulled up to Aldrich Tower, that glass giant that cuts through our skyline, my hands went numb on the steering wheel. That tower felt like a border between his world and mine. A world where people like me are invisible. Where girls like me don't knock on penthouse doors. But I didn't go home. I stayed parked across the street, heart rattling in my chest. What would I even say if I saw him face to face? "Hi, I'm the daughter you forgot. Can I have the life you owe me?" Hours passed. Lights on the top floor flickered on and off. I scribbled in my notebook, a habit I couldn't quit. My mother's name, my name, and his name, Samuel Aldrich, over and over like a spell that might summon the truth. Then I saw movement, down by the side entrance. A black SUV idled there, engine humming in the quiet street. And then him, Samuel. He stepped out of a side door, glanced over his shoulder, and for a moment, I swear our eyes met through the rain. He gestured to someone in the shadows, a man in a dark coat. They spoke, but I couldn't hear over the storm and the hum of my old heater. I remember thinking I'd ask him everything. I'd demand the truth. But I never did. I sat frozen, gripping my pen so hard it snapped. When I looked back up, the SUV was gone, and Samuel Aldrich had vanished into the night. Rick found my car first, still parked by the tower, keys dangling in the ignition like I'd just stepped out for a second. He called my phone. It rang under my seat. My notebook sat open on the passenger side, rain dripping onto the ink, smearing S. Aldrich into a ghost of itself. By noon, the diner buzzed with rumors. She ran away. She found her father and left town. Maybe the billionaire gave her hush money. But Rick knew me. He knew I wouldn't just leave. Not without telling him. Not without my notebook. The police asked the right questions at first. When did you last see Emma? Did she ever mention wanting to run? Did she leave a note? But when Samuel's name came up, the tone changed. They knocked on his tower's glass doors, stood in his marble lobby like children outside a candy store. When they asked him about me, he smiled. That politician's smile that never reaches the eyes. He said he'd never seen me. Said he was out of town that night. No one questioned him again. Because men like Samuel Aldrich don't get questioned by people like us. 15 years later, the diner got new neon lights, new faces, but Rick's bones stayed the same. Booths still creaked. The coffee still tasted burnt, and the whispers about me never really died. Last week, A new waitress, Anna, was wiping down the old coffee machine when she found it. Tucked behind a loose panel, yellowed paper, my messy handwriting. If you find this, I'm probably gone. I think I know who he is. I think I know what he did. If I vanish, it wasn't my choice. Tell Rick I'm sorry. Tell him to find the truth. They reopened my case 2 days ago. And last night, a reporter knocked on Samuel Aldridge's penthouse door. He didn't answer, but someone inside did, a young woman with my eyes. Back at the diner, Anna couldn't sleep after finding the letter. Rick hadn't slept, either. The diner's neon sign flickered in the dawn as they sat in the back booth. Emma's old notebook and the crumpled letter between them. Anna kept asking questions Rick couldn't answer. Why now? Who was she to him? Do you really think he made her disappear? Rick didn't say it, but the truth weighed heavy on him. The guilt of not doing more back then. Of not pushing harder when the police shrugged him off. Of letting Emma's ghost settle into the walls of his diner, whispering through every slammed door and broken coffee pot. When the reporter showed up that morning, a young guy with more caffeine in his veins than sense, Rick didn't know whether to feel hope or dread. Do you know about the girl? The reporter asked. The one who answered Aldridge's door? Rick just stared. The girl with Emma's eyes. He wondered if Emma had somehow survived, hidden away all these years. Or if it was worse, if Emma never left at all. The reporter's name was Daniel Torres, a freelancer chasing stories too dangerous for the local paper. He laid out what he'd found in a swirl of coffee cups and old photos spread across Rick's sticky table. 15 years ago, Samuel's financial empire almost collapsed overnight. Shady shell companies, hush-hush payoffs, rumors of affairs. But every scandal vanished like it never happened. Bribed judges, sealed court documents, rumors of one woman who threatened to go public, a waitress who knew the wrong secret at the wrong time. Emma. Daniel pushed a grainy photo across the table, a surveillance shot. Samuel on the sidewalk outside Aldridge Tower. A young woman half hidden behind him. Emma. And then another photo, taken just last night. That same penthouse window glowing behind drawn curtains. And framed in the glass, blurred but unmistakable, a young woman, maybe 20, with Emma's green eyes and that same half smile. Rick felt his heart stop. Emma's daughter. Or Samuel's. Inside Aldridge Tower, the girl's name was Lily. She'd grown up surrounded by marble floors, silk curtains, and a father who pretended the world outside didn't exist. Samuel called her his miracle. Told her mother died in an accident when she was just a baby. He never said her mother's name. Lily didn't know about Rick's diner. She didn't know about Emma's notebook or the letter stuffed behind a broken coffee machine. She didn't know she was the final piece in a puzzle her mother tried to solve all those years ago. But Lily knew one thing. Her father lied about everything. She'd found hints, a hidden birth certificate with Emma's name, a sealed envelope with a photograph of a waitress in a cheap uniform, staring at the camera like she was daring it to lie about her life. And the biggest secret of all, a locked file in Samuel's safe. A single name scratched into the leather cover, Emma. The first time Lily called Rick's diner, Anna almost hung up, thinking it was a prank. But the voice on the other end was too real. Too scared. Did you know Emma? Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Anna glanced at Rick, who froze mid-wipe on the counter. He took the phone with hands that trembled like old paper. Who is this? Rick asked, though in his gut he already knew. I think she was my mother, the girl said. Silence filled the diner. Somewhere, a coffee machine hissed. Outside, the sun rose over a town that had forgotten how to hope. Can you help me? Lily asked. I think he did something to her. I think I'm next. Samuel Aldridge felt the walls closing in for the first time in decades. The new investigation. The rumors. The photo of his daughter's face in the window. And now whispers about Rick's diner. A place he'd ordered his people to watch for years, just in case. His lawyers said they could bury this, like they buried everything else. But Samuel knew better. He'd spent his life building a kingdom on secrets. And secrets rot from the inside out. He watched Lily from his study door that night. She sat by the fireplace, flipping through an old photo album he'd never meant for her to find. He wondered if she looked more like Emma than he remembered. He wondered if she'd ever forgive him. He wondered how much she really knew. Back at the diner, Rick and Anna sat in the booth where Emma used to nap during her breaks. Back when she was just a kid trying to make sense of a broken world. Lily wanted to meet. She wanted answers. She wanted to know if Emma ever talked about what she found. Rick wasn't sure if he could protect her. He wasn't sure if he could protect himself. But he'd made a promise, 15 years too late, that he wouldn't let Samuel Aldridge win again. So he told Anna to keep the letter hidden, told Daniel the reporter to dig deeper. And he told Lily one thing: come home. We'll find out the truth together. The night Lily planned to leave, she packed a single suitcase. She slipped Emma's birth certificate and the old photo into her purse. She paused at her window, staring out at the city below, the city her father owned. She didn't see the black SUV parked across the street. She didn't see the man in the driver's seat, the same man who'd stood beside Samuel 15 years ago, glancing over his shoulder as Emma watched from her rusted Honda. The same man who made sure Emma never came home. Lily slipped out of the penthouse at midnight. She didn't leave a note, didn't look back. Her suitcase felt like an anchor in her hand, but she refused to abandon the evidence she'd found. Emma's birth certificate, the photo of the diner, the letter Samuel once hid in his safe, a confession written in a trembling hand, and signed but unmistakable. Down the private elevator, her pulse thudded in her ears. She didn't notice the silent ping of a text sent from her father's security detail, or the whisper of the man in the black SUV, shifting gears when the lobby doors parted. Outside, the city smelled like rain and secrets. Lily ducked into an alley, clutching the burner phone Rick had mailed her. She dialed the number scratched on its back. Rick's voice came through, gravelly but calm. "Where are you?" he asked. "Close," Lily said. "I think someone's following me." Rick's heart sank. He'd known Samuel wouldn't let her go that easy. He told her where to meet him, an old bus station on the edge of town. He told her to stay in the light. And then he prayed. In the black SUV, a man named Keller watched Lily slip through the side streets. He'd been Samuel's fixer since the first scandal, the first payoff, the first hush money envelope handed over with shaking hands. He knew how to make people disappear. Emma had been his first big job. He remembered her eyes, the way she didn't beg, the way she stared through him, like she knew someday the truth would crawl back into the light, no matter how deep he buried it. Now her daughter had those same eyes, and he hated that they still made him feel something like shame. He adjusted his earpiece. Samuel's voice cracked through. "Bring her back. No mistakes this time." Keller pulled into the alley and killed the headlights. Rick stood under the flickering sign of the bus station, Anna by his side, clutching a thermos of coffee like it was a shield. Daniel, the reporter, paced nearby, phone to his ear, recording every word for safekeeping. The rain came down in sheets, drumming on the metal roof. Every shadow looked like a threat. Every passing car made Rick flinch. When Lily appeared at the end of the platform, soaked and shivering, Rick felt 15 years of guilt crack inside him. Emma's ghost seemed to stand behind the girl, urging him to get this right, this time. Anna ran to Lily first, wrapping her in her coat. Rick pulled her close, whispering, "You're safe now. He can't touch you here." But in the dark, Keller watched from the corner of the lot, engine idling. His orders were clear. Bring her back alive. If she won't come, make her. Back at the diner, under the hum of the old neon sign, Lily spread out what she'd stolen from Samuel's safe. Photos, not just of Emma, but of other women. Waitresses, interns, secretaries. Each one tied to hush settlements, NDAs, checks with Samuel's crooked signature. It was a pattern, and Emma had found it first. That's why she was silenced. Among the files, Daniel found the smoking gun, a bank transfer receipt, millions wired offshore days after Emma vanished. Payment to Keller Security Services. Anna's hand flew to her mouth. Rick slammed his fist on the counter. "He paid to make her disappear," Rick growled. "He paid him to do it." Lily's hands trembled as she pointed to another name on the paper, Emma's beneficiary. A hidden trust, never claimed. And there, at the bottom, for Lily Mae Aldridge. Her mother had tried to protect her, even from the grave. The rain hadn't stopped when Keller stepped through the diner door. He didn't draw his gun, didn't need to. His eyes alone froze Anna and Daniel in place. Rick stepped in front of Lily. His voice cracked, but didn't waver. "You're not taking her." Keller looked at Lily, at Emma's eyes. He almost said he was sorry. Almost. But Samuel's voice echoed in his ear, "No mistakes." He stepped forward. Rick's old fists clenched, ready to protect the girl like he hadn't protected her mother. But Lily stepped out from behind him, holding her phone up. Recording. Keller froze as his own face stared back at him on the screen, streaming live to Daniel's followers, who were already blowing up the feed with screenshots, hashtags, rage. "It's over," Lily said. Her voice didn't shake. "The world knows now." Keller's jaw tensed. For a heartbeat, he looked at Lily like he'd looked at Emma, regret flickering behind dead eyes. Then he turned and ran into the night. Inside Aldrich Tower, Samuel stared at the breaking news alert on his phone. The headlines were spreading like wildfire. Billionaire's hidden scandal. Missing waitress. Secret daughter. His empire, built on silence, was finally screaming. He poured a glass of whiskey and dialed a number he hadn't used in years. The line rang once, twice, and then a woman's voice, calm, cold, British. "Did you really think you could keep it buried forever?" she asked. Samuel didn't answer. He watched the rain smear the city lights across his window and whispered, "Finish it. Make them disappear." Lily thought she was safe. But Samuel Aldrich has one last card to play, and this time, it's not Keller watching from the shadows. As the truth explodes across the world, Rick's Diner becomes ground zero for a final showdown that could cost them everything. Rick's Diner became a fortress overnight. Reporters camped in the rain. Police cruisers idled by the curb, pretending to protect them. But Lily saw the sideways glances, the whispers in earpieces. Samuel's money went everywhere. Inside, Lily sat at the counter where her mother once poured coffee, her phone buzzing non-stop with messages from strangers calling her brave, a hero. But heroes get buried, she thought. Her mother had been braver than all of them, and the world forgot her. Anna passed out stale coffee and cold sandwiches to the crew that wouldn't leave Lily's side. Rick, Anna, Daniel, and a handful of local activists who promised they'd get her story into every courtroom, every channel, every corner of the country. Outside, the black SUV was gone, but Keller wasn't finished. He was somewhere out there, obeying Samuel's final command, "Finish it." At dawn, a man knocked on the diner door, older, soaked to the bone, carrying a battered briefcase. He said his name was Mr. Halloran, a lawyer who once worked for Samuel's father, back when Aldrich wealth was still built in smoke-filled boardrooms and paid for secrets. Halloran looked at Lily with a weariness she recognized, a man who'd carried guilt so long it had become part of him. "You have no idea how deep it goes," he rasped. Emma wasn't the only one. Samuel built an empire on the women he destroyed, and the men like me who kept him safe. He handed her a folder, pages yellowed, marked confidential. Inside were affidavits, bank statements, secret audio tapes. Proof that Samuel's reach went far beyond the diner, into politics, police departments, charity boards, entire towns bought and silenced. Rick leaned over her shoulder, reading. His eyes burned with rage. "Why come now?" Lily asked. Halloran wouldn't meet her eyes. "Because when they're done with you, they'll come for me next." That night, under flickering fluorescent lights, Daniel uploaded the final files, a data dump big enough to bring down an empire. He pressed publish and exhaled, convinced they'd won. But outside, under the buzzing streetlight, Keller watched from the shadows, a gun hidden under his coat. He wasn't alone. Beside him, a young cop named Officer Grady, who'd sworn he'd protect Lily, slipped him the passcode to the diner's back door. When Grady walked away, he didn't look back, didn't see Rick watching from the window, betrayal slicing through the old man like a blade. The back door creaked open at 2:13 a.m. Lily woke to Anna shaking her shoulder. Rick stood by the door, baseball bat in hand. "Stay behind me," he whispered. Keller stepped inside, gun raised, eyes dead but not unkind. For a moment, Lily thought he'd lower it, that maybe he'd remember her mother's eyes. But his orders still burned in his earpiece. No mistakes. Rick lunged, the bat cracked bone, but Keller didn't go down. A single shot echoed through the diner. Rick gasped, staggered, fell into Anna's arms. Lily screamed, rage, grief, her mother's ghost screaming with her. She ran at Keller, slammed him into the counter. The gun clattered away. For a heartbeat, they froze, 2 generations of secrets staring each other down. Keller whispered, "I'm sorry." Then a shot rang out, but it wasn't his. Anna, hands trembling, held the gun Rick kept under the register. Keller slumped to the tile. Outside, sirens wailed. Too late, always too late. Sunrise found Samuel Aldrich alone in his penthouse, watching the world devour him in headlines and hashtags. Keller was gone. Halloran's files were everywhere. Police pounded on his door. He poured one last glass of whiskey, stared at the portrait of himself as a young man, smug and invincible. Then he made one final call, not to his lawyers, but to Lily. Her voice cut through the line like ice. "Is this your confession?" she asked. He almost laughed. "Confession? No, darling. This is your inheritance." Before she could ask, the line went dead. An hour later, news broke. Samuel Aldridge found dead in his penthouse, an apparent suicide, leaving behind millions in offshore accounts, and a handwritten will naming Lily Mae Aldridge as his sole heir. Weeks later, the diner reopened under a new name, Emma's Place. Rick's old photo hung by the door, flowers below it. Anna ran the counter now, refusing to let the past stay buried. Lily stood behind the same counter where her mother once smiled. She had Samuel's money now, but she didn't want it. She wanted justice. Every penny went to the women like Emma, silenced, forgotten, buried under men's secrets. Daniel's expose won awards, but Lily stayed away from the cameras. She didn't need fame. She needed the world to remember her mother's name, whispered over steaming mugs of coffee and cheap pie. And when people asked her who Emma was, she'd smile, her mother's smile, and say, she was the woman who refused to be invisible. In the end, the truth didn't just take down a billionaire. It gave a daughter her mother back, piece by piece, memory by memory. And somewhere, Emma Aldridge's ghost finally rested, not hidden in a diner's walls, but alive in every secret her daughter refused to bury. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more beautiful stories like this.